Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another one of my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. Today, we're going to channel some messages and through about 2024 and the new you. So there are going to be some messages just coming through the Cyanians, Pleiadians, my team really, as a whole. I channel through Gaia, Mother Earth, and sometimes elementals come flickering in, certain animals can come in, and that sort of thing. I do tend to go between Earth and Pleiades to source energy. So that's because for all of my life I was contacted by the Pleiadians, and my first ever contact was when I was 11 years old, and I had a visitation and this is exactly the same time as the Kaikoura UFO event went on in 1977, somewhere around there, or 1978 anyway. I think I was 11 years old when it happened. So yeah, that's telling you my age, isn't it? Hey, Erica, good to see you. And hi, Bobby, look out for a package. Oh, Erica, you are so beautiful. Thank you. So I feel very, very honored about that. She's, I did a reading for Erica, and she's like, I have to give you something that I'm creating. So I'm so excited. Thank you. Another present coming for 2024, right? It's been a cracker of it's not even 2024 yet, but it feels like it to me. I don't know why and if it feels the same with you, but I feel like a shift has happened mid-December, early December to mid-December. And like we're coming back into even more and more authentic selves, starting to not, it's like, it's interesting. When you start to do the shadow work and you start to let things just peel away from you that don't resonate with you anymore, it gives you a space to really feel into the true you, and that true you comes from your heart. And then you end up starting to step into more uniqueness and not have any fear around it, because if you bring something through from love, even if it's coming from the inner, well, it all has to come from the inner self first. If you bring anything through from love, the resistance in the outside world is way, 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 way less. There is none, or there is very little anyway, depending on what vibrational meet you're meeting with and who you've surrounded yourself externally with. So if you're still clearing or clearing certain blockages, then sometimes you might have that resistance. But it's really generally, if I'm coming from love and I'm stepping into something that's totally outside the box for the norm, I don't get any resistance. And it has to come from not just, there has to be alignment with the heart, the mind, everything. It's not just my mind's thinking this, but my heart's scared, or my heart's open, but my mind is scared, that sort of thing. There has to be a collaboration between all of our, I don't even know what to call that. I mean, the only word I can put there is personalities. The English language doesn't go beyond into some of this etheric language, really, or the feeling of what we can have. That's another interesting point to make. The English language doesn't go very far. Even in Russia, they have like 9 different words for the word love. And depending on where you're using, how you're using it, there's 9 different words for it. We just have this one word, love, and we have to kind of box it into everything. And it gets confusing because our mind's like, I love this person this way. I love this person this way. I love this animal this way. And we're just saying the same word, and then somebody can misconstrue it when you say it, and then they think that you're talking about something sexual or something ridiculous like that. Interesting. So today I'm a little bit later, and probably lots of people are going to be doing their holiday things, but I'm sure they'll come to this channeling later on when they're not, with their family and so forth, or getting up really late because they had a really late night last night. Oh, I did have a bit of a late night last night, well, especially the night before. Anyways, let's get into this channel message and see what comes through for the new you for 2024. So I'm bringing in and asking my team messages for us, how we can use these new energies, guide us through 2024, what to look out for, that sort of thing. Okay, we're still going to be doing the up and down for a while. It is going to become more and more clearer. We're going to start to understand that as we clear certain blockages within ourselves, or shadow alignments, or things that we're not really in line with for ourselves, that when we clear those, the fear will start to fade away from our reality into stepping forward, and it becomes an automatic thing because you want to follow your heart. So you start to step forward and try different things. I know I have recently. I'm now going local as well, and pulling through a group together called The Gathering. That's a local thing. So if you are local to me in North Brisbane, then yeah, you're most welcome along to that. And there's no fear, no resistance around it anymore. And before I would have had this niggling thought of, oh, maybe no one's going to turn up, and I've been inundated with 44 interests and 7 people definitely going. So I was actually only expecting 8 people to turn up. I wanted to mingle as a friend kind of thing and get to know people around this area, but it's becoming a little bit bigger than that. We'll go with this anyway. I love it all. So yeah, but this is how it works. As you peel away the things that aren't in alignment with your soul anymore, because they were just programs pulled over you from when you were a child, or growing up, or when you had something go wrong, and then you kind of programmed yourself through resistance of overprotecting oneself through the mind. Then when you start to get to those points, or those key points within your mind, and you realize that it wasn't necessary to overprotect yourself that much, or isn't necessarily now to follow that advice of that person that was coming from their own lack, and told me, even though they were an adult and they were in a position of power, and you were a child or something like that, but now you look back at it and go, okay, I don't need to keep following that advice anymore. That person wasn't really coming from their heart or anything. They were just coming from a program from themselves to try to keep you small so that you keep safe in a limited quantum field of existence with this matrix, the system that's going on at the moment. The more you shine, the more unique you become. The more that you literally step through life without any fear, and you have the power. The power comes automatically because you don't have the resistance within yourself anymore of how the outcome is going to actually fall, because you have absolute faith in yourself and the universe bringing you into alignment of love of self again. And so if you do step towards a doorway that isn't in line with your soul, you will start to see the resistance coming back at you straight away, and you'll either have to clear that blockage, or you will and then go, okay, I need to pull back and just realign and see, is this really what my soul's desiring here? Because it's your soul that has created this unique body and this unique existence. It is source energy, God itself, going on a journey. So that means it is the frequency point of existence. But then we tell ourselves the outside world is more important, and so we have to try to find a program that's going to fit into the outside world, and we start to tell our soul to ignore our soul's advice, and then the resistance comes, and we start to create a life that we don't actually like. That's what happens energetically, they're telling me. And that's why so many people are caught into this maze of awkwardness. So that's why it's so important to come back to self and go, okay, I need to clear this, and then see where I align, how I align with my soul and what I really truly want to do from here on out. What has no resistance, what's coming from love of self. Okay. So 2024 is going to be a lot to do with that. More and more and more of us are going to start stepping into it automatically, because we don't have the fear that we had before that was pulling us into a mirror reflection of a program telling us that the outside world was more important than how we feel within ourselves. And so when we come back to ourselves and just love who we are, the uniqueness starts to shine through. So some of us have literally come from our souls have come straight from different dimensions, different planets, different experiences, animal life and all that sort of stuff. So those unique abilities that you had in those other previous lives start to shine through, you will start to feel a pull towards that direction of interest, because the interest comes from the fact that you feel at home. And when you were at home before this life, that's how you felt. You felt really good. All the souls that have come here as light workers or people, I don't know what you want to call it, doesn't matter. We label everything because the logical mind needs labeling, but and the language does. But anyone that's come from these higher frequencies, straight from those higher frequencies, are all, benevolent beings that have come here to help shift, expand the world and become unique and become something different, and do things like channeling and that sort of thing, bring in their gifts, even if their gifts were uniquely to themselves, of being able to structure life in a different way, bring in different imaginings, different opportunities, give different ideas to people who are in the position that can actually create those ideas and ground them into this reality. The teams will start to come together. So there's going to be a lot to do with that, with teamwork happening a lot more in 2024. That's going to bring a bigger vibrational field of certain groups or pods of people that are uniquely had decided to come together as a soul at a certain point, which is this point in existence here on Earth, to validate each other, support each other, give each other the boost that they need, so that because we're in alignment with the same focus on expanding this reality into something more. And so we start to become stronger and stronger within ourselves. We no longer have to do the lone wolf anymore, the lone star. We've done so well on our own, and kudos to you. They're saying kudos to everybody that has done this on their own and been the guiding light that's kind of forged a path and got the scythe and whacked through all of the demonic energies that were inside their own mind, so that they could forge a path for other people. It's a bravo, real beautiful feeling that I'm getting from them, of excitement that there's quite a few of us that are doing it and that have done it, and quite a few of us that are going to be doing it in 2024 too, because there's another lift of people that are going to be ready to come into a vibrational meet of understanding that those that have cleared the path are happier in their life, or they have found a happy space within themselves, at least, even if their reflection doesn't show it straight away, or they dip and dive in and out. They can show bits and pieces of, you can be happy here on this beautiful planet in this existence. So 2024 energetically is going to be a lot to do with expanding one's uniqueness in this, and then a team of gathering together people. And if you find yourself still the lone wolf, it's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself. That might be the thread that you need to go on. And everyone, there's no better or worse who's first and who's last. That is all the old program, right? We all each have a piece of the puzzle that has to be enlightened in its specific timing for this to work. Some of the ones that were lit first over the last few years especially were those that were put in power positions aligned with parliaments and stuff like that, or judge lawyers and things like that, where they ended up waking up over the last few years and realizing their mission was to now speak the truth. Even people who are in media and that, so there are slithers of these people coming through or bleeding through, speaking more and more of the truth, because they no longer can hold themselves apart from the love of who they are anymore. It becomes too tense, too harsh to hold, and so they move forward with this velocity of truth. And so then the media is going to start to come forth even more too, because these people are going to shine even more, have more power behind them, because they find their team as well. That's what they're all pulling together. And so the light will start to really shine out those that have been holding us in a limited matrix for their own self image, for their own power. And those ones that are holding themselves in there are going to feel this very, very shaky in that time. And they're going to have to eventually also come to realization that they are also source energy going on a journey, which means they have to come back to the love in themselves, forgive everything that they did and see it as the story. And I know that sounds kind of like, oh, well, they get away with it. No, they don't. Because if you can imagine the amount of shadow work that you've done to try to pull yourself out of the mind crap and the program that you've done, and all the torment and the reflections that came back at you, for you to take it a step back, keeps taking a step back and find out who you are uniquely. That's a lot of trauma. So can you imagine what they're going to go through to pull them or bring themselves back into alignment of source energy? Because we all arrived from that point of existence. We've all started off with love going on a journey, and then we've taken up different parts of the game, or the like an actor acting certain things in the storyline of the adventure that source energy went through as a whole, through each individual person. So now source energy is like, we've got to come back together to the love of ourselves, so that this is that point of existence of the love with who we are, ends up creating the beautiful story. It shifts the story. We move out of the polarity game of the left and the right hemisphere not getting along with each other, the mind and the heart not getting along with each other. We move out of that. We're more in unison now. So the storyline shifts. We're no longer playing the chess game. We've risen above the chess game. We're in a different scenario here, where there's more team efforts pulling together to create beauty on earth. And then there might be another team over there that's creating something completely different. So we're all completely creating whatever feels right for us. Hey, Dave, good to see you. Yeah. And see what else comes up for 2024 for us as well. Yeah, there's going to be some chops and changes, shifts and moves. A dance being shown. With those that have done the work are going to be able to see from the observer point of view of understanding why this happened and that happened. They'll start to see more of a bigger picture. The ones that are still caught in it, they might still go through be sifting through the rubbish of their own mind. And then it looks like the rubbish of their reality is caught up to them. And keep reminding yourself, you know, as you go into these higher frequencies and you see these people going through the shifts that you've already gone through, you know, no judgment here, no I'm better than anyone else. It's just waves of opportunity of people moving through life as through the story and moving out of it. We're literally moving out of it. We're moving out of one story and cracking into another, breaking open another, shining more light and love onto that story. And this is what humanity asked for. This is the reason why so many brave souls come from benevolent places, and that's why they felt really fragile when they came down here to be born in a human form. And this time right here, right now, you know, it might have been looked like they were over emotional when they were children and so forth, or, you know, very standoffish and almost scared of this world in a way, because it was a big fall for somebody to come from a benevolent place and then fall into this. So we've had to then come to realize and forgive ourselves for making that jump into something that was way more denser, and then but then we realized it was to help others, to lose ourselves, to find ourselves, to help others in the end. So in that forgiveness, we shine even brighter, we become more and unique to ourselves again. So that's why there's a lot of these like shifts going to be happening, and it all depends on where you are in the placement of your work that you're doing for yourself. The more that you acknowledge the deservance of love, the more that you allow the reflection or your outside world to show you that love, the more that you are looking at yourself through the eyes of clearing stuff, or clearing mind games and that you're playing, the more that those mind games might show up for you to really step back and go, okay, the game itself, the outside reflection of myself isn't the truth. It is just a mere reflection coming afterwards, after I had decided it was my truth. So now I want to decide a different truth. And so you have to decide a different truth before your outside world starts to change. We did touch on that last week as well, but these energies are still present at the moment to help us shift, and they are going to be through the 2024 as well. You will see a breaking down, and they're showing me like corners of the system. It's really interesting, like a grid that's covered over. They're showing me like a net. And if you've ever seen like a tablecloth that has those little weights on it so that it holds down the tablecloth really flat, they're showing me this net that's over humanity's consciousness that was created by those that aren't, you know, don't have the best interest for us, because they're not coming from the best interest of themselves. They're seeing their outside world as way more important than who they truly are in the inner core, and they don't feel the love for themselves like they should do as in source energy. So they're showing me this net, and then those weights are falling off, and it's becoming lighter and lighter, the net that's coming over us, and then it's like curling up at the corners and stuff. And so it's showing cracks or pods of people, groups of people that are actually here on Gaia, on Earth, loving where they're at the moment, and they can't do anything about it because the net that they pulled over them isn't there anymore, because they're not accepting it in their head as part of their game anymore. They see themselves as the observer of the game. They don't see themselves as part of that game. Yes, they'll dip and dive into it sometimes, but they can pull themselves out whenever they want. And so so the overall picture, you're going to see, these cracks of people coming up with the truths, and people, not being in the limited. And so it's going to become more and more and more understandable in 2024. Also, they're telling me contact is going to happen more and more. Now most of us are going to be contacted through telepathy, dreams. They'll come in your dreams. So when they come in your dreams, these are the benevolent beings that are already understanding you or knowing who you are, because your soul lineage is starting to shine through, and you have the same feelings washing over you as you did in those past lives as that benevolent being. So then that allows a bridge that forms for the benevolent beings to start to talk to you. I am still putting together this beautiful, beautiful video to help us bring this contact upon earth with the beings that your souls will end up can physically have a contact with. But they're telling me in 2024 there's going to be a lot more of us that are going to allow these messages to come through our mind, to break through the resistance of the program. And they can come in dreams. So when they come in dreams, it could be a dream that you're just dreaming, la, 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 and then there's an interruption and it feels really real, where somebody just all of a sudden pops up in the dream and you're like, oh, where'd you come from? That sort of thing. Look out for that in your dreams, because that would be a benevolent being, a guide, or somebody giving you more information. When you see a dream shift, if you've ever seen a dream, which I have, I've seen a lot of what I'm talking about. So I'm only telling you of things that I know because I've actually gone through it as well. And I'm bringing it up in my head at the moment to share with you. So where all of a sudden in the dream, everything goes slow motion, and then it sort of shifts your attention to something else. That sort of thing will mean that they're actually trying to come to you in a dream as well. You can also be in a dream, and when they turn up, you'll feel the excitement of them. They're saying, when it's almost like you're in a real reality, or, oh my God, they're actually arrived, that sort of thing. When that happens, calm yourself down in the dream, because know that through the, oh my God, they're actually here, you could, if you get too excited about it, end up not being too much for their energy. So just remember, it's an alignment of your energy with theirs that bridge you together. And take note the next morning, especially, of anything that they say or do, because it could be relevant for something that's coming up for you to either clear something and become even more clearer with them, or it could just be a message of what's to come worldly wise, so that you can prep yourself and become the observer of it. A lot of the premonitions that they could show you could be just to show you a prep of alignment, so you become that observer and don't get sucked into it, because you cannot shift what has to break away or break up in this next year or two, because it has to happen. So those that are caught in that mix, don't fret about their lives or their souls or anything. They will learn a valuable lesson from that, getting caught in it. And when they release, if they had to pass through to another, to the other side, then they will start to see life from a much broader perspective, because they'll start to see this shining happening on earth. There's within their family dynamics of those that are holding specific understandings that light and love is, going to actually, and it sounds really corny when I say it, light and love, but this is how it is. It's a coming back to self awareness, that we don't have to create the story of doom and gloom anymore to have an adventure. That's another program that they said that was pulled over us. Oh my God, if you're all light and love, it's all going to be boring and airy-fairy and No, actually, it expands your reality so much more, because you become then connected back into the whole Taurus energy of existence itself again, aligning yourself with feeling where you can communicate with way more. So earth, animals, the elements, even understanding weather patterns, all that sort of thing. There's just a lot more, and so it actually your life becomes more adventurous rather than it's not as boring. Actually, the program that was poured over us and our limited mind that keeps us in this loop of I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to look like this way and I have to look like that way to be able to fit into this real world can become boring, because it's like you've already predicted how you're going to act, how you're going to, and you're going against your soul's feeling of who you truly are. And I know that there's going to be, especially through the holiday season, you will have to put on the hat of limited mindset just to be around those that, but then bleed out bits of yourself, become the observer of it. Like, don't be afraid to shine as well and become uniquely you around those that, you'll feel into it, feel what they can handle, and go from there. Feel into your reality and what other people can handle. You don't want to scare the crap out of someone either, or push, because you can push them away if you take them too fast, too soon. But know that you're doing a job by planting certain seeds and that sort of thing through the holiday season and stuff like that. What else is coming through? Some of us getting assignments to help them. Darlin, thank you for that. Yes. So the assignments, because you start to come into loving who you are more in your shadow work and all that sort of stuff, your assignments will just automatically start to bleed through you, through the passion, through your own passion. I've always desired to do this, but I had a fear that stopped me because I was told that I would look stupid, or I would look, I won't fit into the world or whatever. Or it's too difficult a job for me to take over. I'm too emotional for that sort of thing. The self-talk, when we start to clear all those self-talks, the assignments will start to shine through. All of a sudden you're like, it doesn't worry me anymore. I'm not concerned with what other people think, because I'm really happy with myself, and that's more important than what other people think. I mean, that's literally what happened to me when I started to channel live and all of that. I went through a massive Tao moment, and then I just went, well, I tried it their way. I tried to do everything, the norm way, the system way. I tried to fit in. I tried to put on my hat for them and all the outside world. And then I just went, I just got to be me. And the fear sort of fell away. So then it's the fear that falls away that creates the alignment with you and your assignment, or your soul's journey, your passion that you are already been pulling your way to. Actually, one of the things to look out for, interesting enough, is people that you get jealous of. If you get jealous of someone, that's an indication that you probably are someone that was supposed to step into the same alignment of what they're doing for your own self, but you haven't. So you now got this about them, because you haven't stepped into as much of your soul's assignment, and you're looking at them and they are. So use any sort of inkling of jealousy to bring it back to self and go, okay, I'm taking back the power to become that myself. How does that feel? Does that feel good for me? Or is there another path that feels good for me that's similar to what they're doing? Does that feel good for me? And keep coming back to self and what feels good for you, because that is going to be literally your assignment moving forward and showing up. We had a ship fly very low over our house last summer for the first for me. Oh my God, yeah. I love it when I hear people that have had contact, because there's a lot more of it going on than meets the eye. If you've had that happen, they might have been trying to talk to you telepathically over this year, and it comes through very very strong feelings of understandings, or where did that pop in my head from, that sort of thing. And it's kind of like a knowing. The truth of somebody else that's coming from a higher perspective, talking to your soul, and that's the communication of you receiving that. And then usually you receive it through feeling, and then the feeling can be turned into language, because humanity brought in language because they forgot how to feel into wisdom and feel into their soul, and their soul that was in alignment with other souls that weren't here on earth, or benevolent beings, or different spirits, or different guides, or angels, or whatever you want to call them. They could converse with your soul. And when you stopped feeling into your soul and started to only focus your attention on the outside world and trying to fit into something that felt very small and limited and felt restricted and felt like it couldn't be you, that ended up cutting or blocking the communication to your soul. So just be aware of that. So when you do get any sort of contact, if you see a ship coming over or something, or a light that you feel is a ship that's coming, shining up at your window or whatever, or you do see them in your dreams or whatever, know that they can communicate to you through feeling, and then you translate those feelings into language, so that you can tell other people. The language keeps us very limited just between humans. Feeling goes between animal life, Gaia, benevolent beings, your soul. Feelings go a lot further. And so we have to have that sort of vibrational contact first, so that we become more aware of them and trusting who we are and receiving the messages. And then the trust starts to form the bridge, and then the physical contact can be actually made. So that's why they stay, just as lights in the sky at the moment, because many people aren't trusting themselves enough to have that full-on conversation, or like face-to-face presence with them. That there's a process that most people will go through, and it will start off with lights all of a sudden coming in the sky, to actual physical ships being shown, to very, very vivid dreams as well. Please don't poo-poo those, because they're extremely important, because sometimes those benevolent beings can show themselves in their real form through your dreams, and you have a vibrational meet through that dream that's going to link you to the communication as well in the end. This is all happening to a lot of us, especially people that are watching me and people like me over 2024, because there's an expansion of awareness that's going to happen. And that's going to happen through from 2024 through to 2030. 2026 is and they keep bringing that number up for me for some reason. Maybe it's physical contact for quite a few of us that are doing this work. But massive shifts happening at the same time. It does depend how much we can become the observer and stay in the moment with our life, become the unique self, shine our light. That makes a big difference to how if they can actually come physically closer to us. Because as you know, fear and their reality do not mix. They do understand that the first contact could be a little bit of fear, and they will hold themselves through that, but it has to switch pretty quickly from your side to, oh my God, I know who they are. I understand. I'm so excited. This is something for real. Yeah. And get used to it if they do start to show up as ships and coming into your reality in your dreams. use that as a sounding board to get used to them, so that when they really do show up, they could just appear in your room. They could appear as they did for me many, many years, because in your room as you wake up, because when you're waking up, you're going from delta theta to alpha, and when you're in alpha, they can meet you in alignment, or a theta or an alpha, but you could be if you are consciously aware of those states of mind, you can open your eyes and have conversation with beings that are next to you in your bed, or they can show you things, but you will always feel around them a love. You might get an initial fright, but just remember that it's okay if they disappear because they can't hold their frequency around that fear of yours. They will come back in one way or another. They'll find another way. This is a transition of our souls that's bridging a big gap between that we cannot see and the physical world, because it is through bridging that we start to then also have conversation with those that have passed. We start to realize that we never died, that our souls kept going on, that there's a lot more to the energy world than what we thought. People are going to come up with very unique gifts too. It's going to be interesting. We watched them appearing in the handle of the Big Dipper and a lot last summer. Oh my God, Dylan, it's so cool and exciting. I love that. I've had a lot of sightings throughout my year. I wouldn't say like hundreds of them or anything as in sightings of ships. I've had, quite a few that I can count on at least two hands. But I've had hundreds of visitations, like where I've just woken up and then they've appeared to me and shown me things, hundreds, sometimes 2 or 3 a night and that sort of thing. And they gave me validation because they showed me, they brought in my daughter before she was born and showed me what she would look like. And to me, she doesn't look like my other daughter. She looks exactly like she did when she was 6 years old, and she's now 18. Saw her twice while I was pregnant with her. They gave me validation. So ask too for validation. If you do have any sort of niggly resistance in your mind, then just clear your mind and say, can you please show me 3 times through 3 different ways that you are who you say you are, and let it go, and then just forget about it for a while and go, focus on your work or focus on something else, your loved ones or whatever, and let it go for a bit, and then but be aware when something comes up. You will see it anyway. I've had that happen quite a few times when they were talking to me about things that were very out there, like Dyson stars. Dyson stars are created by the Lyrians, and they were stars systems that they built literal loops around these stars, and they had how big a star is. It's like Earth going around in a full circle as a hoop around a whole star. And they call them Dyson stars. And I didn't know what they called them or anything, but they were showing me these things, and then I just let it go. And I went to work, and then I opened up a magazine, and here was this article on Dyson stars that they just found, this star that had this blob in front of it, and they couldn't understand how it could have this blinking happening, because they said that would be like there's a ring around it or something, and they actually had a picture of a Dyson star that someone had recreated and so forth. Because they were telling me that somebody had gone to that Dyson star. Anyway, long story, diverting here, but still very interesting. So I'm bringing that up, though, so that you understand that through 2024, there could be, if there is moments of resistance or whatever, then ask for signs. And I had that sign come to me 3 times in 3 different ways, where it was spoken up about somewhere else and that sort of thing. And then you're like, okay, I'm on my truth line. I'm on the truth. So, yeah. History will change too. History will change for those that have more awareness of themselves. They will see through the cracks, the illusion of how they kept us limited by holding a specific history over humanity, and that kept us in a smaller conscious state of awareness, because the truth of who we are is way more than what the history told us. Yeah, just be aware of self and alignment that you're going. Don't hold on to anything too tightly. Let the stories be malleable. Don't be too fixated in on one thing and saying that is how it is, because unless, unless, like what I do with myself, because I always want to make sure that I'm following the right path for me in the moment. And sometimes one truth will take you to a different truth, And then you look back at the truth that you thought before, and you'll go, oh, down at that step, that's no longer the truth anymore. So that truth falls away. But if you didn't go on that truth step to begin with in that moment for you, and you making the next step up, then you wouldn't have got to the second step up, if you get what I mean. So we need to sometimes follow truth, but keep it malleable, because as we start to expand our awareness, the truth starts to shift as well. But it's very poignant. They're saying very needed in the moment for you to just at least spark a new neuron path in your brain to be able to move into a different truth and a different truth, because it's only moving you up through the stories to something better. So don't hold on to anything. That's the old program. The old program taught us to find something and then hold on to it till death do you part, and you just stayed in that limitedness. And you were scared to almost say, oh, I was wrong. Well, it's not that you were wrong. You were right for that moment, and you needed that moment so that you could step up to the next step of truth for a more expansive awareness of yourself. So truth is malleable as well in the eyes of the person that's going through the story, that's seeking love, seeking to align with source energy, or the love of themselves, and to their higher purpose or their unique self, and so forth. And so what I do sometimes is I'll break away my whole life in my mind, and I'll go, I am not an artist. I am not a mother. I am not a channeler. I am not a human. And I just move into that nothingness within myself. And then I allow the truths to come back in. Or I don't believe in that. So I'm not going to believe in any story. That's called emptying the cup, and they did mention that in the movie The Avatar. Empty your cup before you try to move into the truth, and keep doing it. Don't say I emptied my cup and I found the truth and I'm holding on to it till death do I part, because you already limited yourself there. Allow the truth to take you into a higher and higher vibration. So yeah, that's a really important message right there for 2024 to 2026 or 2030. I don't know, those years keep popping up in my head. They're excited about 2024. It's going to be a big movement for some of us. Don't judge or come down on if the majority look in a certain way. They're all awaken in their own divinely right time as well. So yeah, yes, that's all right, Dylan. I'm really happy to be here. Wishing you Merry Christmas, Celtic Seer, as well. So yeah, we have to be a lot more malleable with all of this. It's the logical mind that holds on to things and fixates, but the logical mind has to be put in its place to allow expansion, and expansion can go, you have no idea where you can actually take the power of yourself and your imagination. It can go far, they're telling me. Much further than what you your logical brain could probably handle it at the moment, but it will have to handle it before you actually bring it into your reality. So this is literally asking our logical mind to just shush for a bit so that we can teach it a new story. We're teaching our logical mind a new story and how we want to progress and develop in this world. And it has to come through trust. So the logical mind has to start to trust the new story coming through will actually bring it more happiness or bring us more happiness in this world. And then when we start trusting ourselves like that, we start trusting our neighbors, we start trusting other people. Why? Because if they come to us with a, squiff kind of energy, we can choose to walk away and we don't feel guilty anymore. We can choose to allow them to find their own self over there and we don't feel guilty anymore and we allow it to all happen. So yeah. And that's going to expand your reality into being able to trust neighbors again, community starting to pull together, even if it is not your neighbors that are next door to you, but allowing groups to form and that sort of thing. I know that's literally what I've jumped into. I'm forming a big group here at the moment called The Gathering. And it's all like-minded people. We want to be able to do that. Excuse me. We want to be able to do that so that we can support one another. This is all to do with learning to support one another again, because in our own trust of supporting each other and just being kind to each other in the movements that they're going through, where we can understand that each of us are going to dip and dive a bit. We might have to pull back from some of them while they're going through a bit of trauma, and then allow them to go back into themselves to find out their own truth. And remember that when you start putting those groups together, everyone's already done a fair bit of shadow work anyway when it comes to those higher frequency groups. Otherwise, you'll be in a group that's just reflecting each other's irkiness, and then you might go, okay, I don't need to be in that group anymore. I want to align myself with someone that shows more compassion for. But if you're constantly a person that is in victimization, you're more likely to be in a group that is going to resonate with someone's showing you the lack of your own power. Yeah. Holding, sorry, I'm repeating myself. I'm going to say that 3 times. Holding vibrations that feel good for you as you move through your life is going to be a big deal in 2024 to 2026. Because it's not only shifting you to align with benevolent beings, it's also shifting other people around you. You become a new, fresh, it's like a freshness that happens with you as you're holding those beautiful feelings within yourself. As you're walking down the street, as you're seeing the sunset, as you're feeling into things, you are gifting others a fresh perspective. They'll go, oh, you feel like a breath of fresh air, that sort of thing. You might get that said to you. And then you know what it is. It's because you're holding vibrations that your soul knows about and understands and feels really good for you. So why not hold it for others as well? Just to give them an opening, an opportunity of what can feel good on this planet. Excuse my voice. Yeah. Yes, so please look out for my next video. You are going to love this one. It's going to help you make more contact. This is a lead up to physical contact, this next video. And they're bringing it up a lot with me at the moment. So something's brewing big time. I can tell you, I wouldn't have these messages coming through like this because I tend to stay away from the whole contact thing, because I want to make sure it's in true alignment before I bring those messages through. So something is shifting for me to be bringing those up. Something big's shifting. We're coming into alignment, and it's quite beautiful. So I couldn't have channeled through the message that I channeled through for this next video for you guys unless there was something brewing. That's exciting, right? Contact's always exciting. But like I said in my last reading, remember, this isn't to shift us off Earth. Yes, some of us could be taken to be shown different places. They could be. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen for some of us. We're, oh my God, actually taking a trip on a ship off this planet for a bit. But you will always be brought back because your soul came here specifically for a job to hold this vibration, to bring your energy from previous lives and other planets and other dimensions and all that onto Gaia, to shift other people's perspectives into expansion of awareness, because the humans were screaming out for something more, and they were caught in such a limited cycle that they couldn't get out of their little box. So we, as the brave souls, we will be born as humans, and we will shift it from the inside out. And so that's why it's going to be very difficult this time for those that have held us in a very limited state to keep us in that limited state, because we're actually physically here. We as souls have tried to help humanity in the past just by being the observer in an etheric way and giving messages through to more aware humans, but it didn't quite make it. So we literally had to be born as humans to bring out this side of ourselves, to be able to share it with others, to expand from the inside out. Just like we have to go ourselves, we have to go inside out. We have to shift what's in here. And that doesn't mean grasp onto something. There's no graspiness within this energy. There's no grasping onto a story. There's no, oh, I'm going to be the unicorn master. That's what I'll be. And you've not felt into that feeling at all. You're not felt into that. There will be a genuine feeling that you feel within yourself of who you are. An understanding, a knowing of who you are. It comes with the shedding away of the program or the shadow work that you're doing on yourself. It literally comes with that. So yeah. Hey, Lucky, good to see you. So happy holiday seasons, everybody. Gotta love a holiday, right? Anything that you feel that makes you happy. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas. It doesn't matter if it's whatever it is. If it's making you happy, go towards that. You know, whatever other people say, oh, that I'm not going there because that's, you know, a story that's connected to this story that's connected to this story. So don't go there. No, if it makes you happy, that's enough. Just keep following that. If the story comes in your reality of the truth of where that story came from in the history, and you decide that it's not making you happy anymore, then so be it. Go with that. Keep going with the flow of who you are. There's no wrong and right here. There's just how you feel. That's more important. How you feel. And how you feel and loving who you are moving forward through this next year, the year after, and the year after that, especially because many changes are going to happen, shifts, breaking away. You'll start to feel even more and more and more not aligned with the very limited stories that happen. You'll see through them and it just won't feel right anymore anyway. So, and then you'll start to stand up for yourself and say, I don't want to follow that anymore to your friends. And then those friends might fall away, and then you might come into more groups of people that are more in line with where you're actually moving. But it's always towards the love of yourself. And so everyone's moving towards the love of themselves. And that's how we kind of shift it all. Yeah. So I think I'll leave it here. Wow, I can't believe it's been a whole hour. It's been a whole hour. I feel like I've only been chatting for half an hour, or channeling through them a half an hour. So yeah, look out for my video. It should be at the end of this week. It's a really big one, and I've done a whole lot of work on this one because I really love it. It's dear to my heart. It's one of those big leaps for me, because it's something that I've had a lot of contact, but I didn't want to bring it forward for anybody else until I felt like the energy was correct for humanity. And so that's why it's coming forward now. So love you guys heaps. Until next time. Bye.